Should you be required to live where you work? Well, the Independent School District thinks so.
A new residency rule is shaking up their top staff. About 60 principals, assistant principals, and other independent school district administrators who live outside the district are now going to have to start house hunting, Randy.
A policy just passed by the school board forces administrators to live in the district by February 2015. The idea was insisted upon by Superintendent Dr. Jim Hinson. But why?
It's just one of the headline-grabbing stories that puts Hinson in the news of late. He's also seen himself on the Today Show and Good Morning America in the last several weeks as the district opts to enroll more than a dozen of its most obese students in a $28,000 a semester weight loss camp in South Carolina.
Dr. Hinson is with us next on The Local Show.
Well, we've been hearing then about this residency requirement, but of all of the things that are happening in education, all of the issues and problems that you have in that big school district, why did you pick this one to get involved with, Dr. Hinson?
When we looked at our administrative staff and realized the vast majority did not live in our community, and at some levels it was really stark to look at our high school principals, for example. One of the 8 actually lives in our school district, and so the School Board of Education was hearing from the community, you know, this is a concern. We're not seeing these individuals in the community. They're driving into the community, they're driving out of the community. And so it's been a long discussion. Certainly we did make the decision in haste, really wanting exceptional leaders that we have in our buildings to be more intricately involved in our community as well.
Now, the fact that they're not living in the school district, and I saw some of the studies, they're saying that 2/3 of those administrators, principals, assistant principals don't live there. Isn't that saying to you that they're not wanting to be in independence? Aren't you worried that now by having this policy that you will have this brain drain? All of these people are going to be leaving, Dr. Hinson?
You know, we're not worried about that because for the last 3 years we've had a residency requirement for our new administrators. And so we've been able to watch the pool of candidates, if you will, with the knowledge that they're going to have to live in the school district. It's a great pool of candidates. We've been able to hire some outstanding individuals already knowing they have the residency requirement. And so there are exemptions. They're allowed for individuals. We know that there are some family issues that are going to cause people to have to stay where they reside. We understand that. And so we've had several folks approach us already to say, okay, here's my individual situation. Here's how it impacts my family. Those individuals are granted exemptions. So we want them to live there, but at the same time, there are some circumstances that we will grant exemptions because of things that are going on in their individual lives.
How do you think, though, this is going to do anything to improve the education in any way of the students in the independent school district?
You know, we really tried to be very deliberate by talking to our community and talking to principals that reside in the school district currently and those that do not, asking for input and opinions. Our community is very emphatic that they want the administrators to live in the school district so that they can be involved in community activities as well, not just leading the school, but to see them at the farmers market or the youth ball games or concerts or wherever it might be. And so we've heard loud and clear from our community about the issue. Certainly we've heard from our administrators that already live in the district of why they think it's important to be an effective principal to live in the community.
What has been the reaction to this? Now, I'm assuming there must be some people, some of these administrators, assistant principals, who are like horrified by this. I'm going to now have to try and sell my house. This is a terrible economy. This is a very tough time, Dr. Hinson, to try and sell a house, isn't it?
Well, they weren't surprised, so they were a part of the process.
Okay.
And so we asked them for input into the regulation. And so we gave them a sample regulation, talked to us about this, how does it impact you? Gave it to them a year in advance. And so they've known that this was in discussion. At the same time, they're not required to move into the district until the 2015-2016 school year. So they still have 2 more years to make that transition. I had an individual in my office today, and she was explaining her story. It's a financial hardship because of some difficulties in the family they're going through. We understand those situations are going to work with those individuals.
So you haven't had big boxes of Kleenex on your desk?
I haven't had big boxes of Kleenex. Again, it wasn't a shock. They knew that this was coming. They were a part of the process.
Now, we've been seeing you, though, not just in the media locally, but you've been on the Today Show recently and also on Good Morning America. Take a look.
And we're back at 8:39 this morning on New Year, New You. We are wrapping up our week-long look at some inspiring weight loss stories. This morning, a group of students in Independence, Missouri, who through their school lost more than 750 pounds.
Jason Alexander, Chelsea Neely, and Cameron Larkin are all from Independence, Missouri, and they all just got back from a semester at Mindstream Academy, a special boarding school in Bluffton, South Carolina for overweight middle and high school students.
My heaviest was 330 pounds. If you're big, you usually get teased. Oh, you're fatty. It really brings you down.
Jason, Chelsea, and Cameron were part of a dozen students whose nearly $29,000 tuition was paid for by the Independence School District.
If we as a school district can take advantage of an opportunity for students and their families to change the course of their life, then that's what we're going to do.
In December, they returned to Missouri after losing a combined 756 pounds. An emotional homecoming.
He has changed so much. He's so skinny.
So you have then, Dr. Hinson, had 13 of your students go to a camp in South Carolina where the tuition fee has been $28,000 a year. Why?
We as a school district have tried to be very diligent in looking at the health and wellness issues of our students. We understand that there are some very dramatic cases in our school district that the lifetime expectancy of some of our students is being altered by the health issues going on in their lives. We've had a long-standing relationship with Dr. David Katz in Yale University in relation to health and wellness, early education, a number of issues. And so Dr. Katz encouraged us to go to South Carolina to look at this very unique program, which we did. And so what we've done is we're the conduit for families. We notified individuals as recommended to us by some of our staff that were at the 98th percentile or higher of above a healthy weight, that this was an opportunity that would be available to them. And so Mindstream staff met with these families. Families self-selected. They said, we want to go or we don't want to go. And it's a major commitment, not only financially for them, but also to say to their kids, okay, you're off for the semester. Some of these in high school, some actually in middle school as well. We felt we had to do that as a school district because we couldn't sit by and allow kids to have major life issues and maybe their life be shortened if we didn't do everything we could to try to change their lifestyle.
But most school superintendents, though, would say, this is terrible, but they wouldn't be sending their kids 1,000 miles away to South Carolina to try and fix that. They'd be saying, let's take the soda out of the vending machines, let's change some of the cafeteria options and perhaps bring in a nutritionist.
We've changed all the options. We brought in the nutritionist. We've made all those changes we could make a number of years ago. One of the things that I've learned is it's very difficult to judge someone when you don't walk a mile in their shoes. And as we started talking to these families and kids, we realized they needed major environmental changes for a period of time because they were in a rut. They had tried everything they knew how to try, and they couldn't change. They were being unsuccessful and still gaining enormous amounts of weight. And so I had to step back to say, I don't understand how they live. I don't understand what they're going through, but I have to provide everything I can provide so that they can be successful. And I think that's something that we have to do in education is understand I don't walk in their shoes. I don't walk in the shoes of those that are in poverty or have major issues with obesity, and I have to listen to them, and I have to be that conduit to provide to them what they really need.
13 students went, and as we saw in that report, they lost a combined weight of 750 pounds, and we see the joy in their faces. Let's take a look at some of these quotes from these students.
I lost 100 pounds. My self-esteem was just through the roof,
I'm very proud of you, Jason. I think that it's an amazing thing.
So now it's 55 pounds. I'm smiling a lot more, and I think I just have more optimism.
When I got down to about 250 pounds, I said, wow. She still tells me every day she's happy I'm home.
Well, and one of the things I told her is I said, I have always told you that you're beautiful. I hope you see it now.
I do.
We hear about the pride, as we hear from some of those reports there. But some people would say, God, it cost $28,500 for each of these students for a semester. That's an awful lot of money per student for a district like Independence to be spending?
What we did as a school district, we worked with our State Department. They allowed us to count these students as if they were in attendance at school. And so we flow through state and federal money that would normally come to us to Mindstream. So that's about $6,000. That's all the school district's on the hook for. The parents have financial commitment into the process as well, and then Mindstream is responsible for fundraising from various foundations and other entities as well. And so the $6,000 that we send per student per semester is really insignificant. If you look at the health issues that they're dealing with, and certainly if I can increase their life expectancy, that's a minimal amount of money.
So 28,000 sounds like a lot, but you're only on the hook for 6,000.
We're only on the hook for 6,000.
Yeah. Now, of the 13 students, we're in a brand new semester now, and most of them are going back to the camp?
Most of them went back. We have a total of 15 students that are at Mindstream this semester.
Now, there must be, though, so many more kids in the Independent School District alone who could benefit from this camp. Don't you feel, wow, about all of those kids who could also benefit from this, who are not getting this opportunity?
You know, two answers to that question. One, we've developed a plan so when these students return, they will be mentors for other students and families as well. We're working with the families while their students are away at Mindstream so they can make the changes they need to make. And so one of the goals is for these students to return and be mentors to other kids and really spread the great news and help them in that regard. The second thing is I think we have to, and we are diligently looking at how do we make this happen here. Why does it just have to happen in South Carolina? Can't we bring this to scale here?
And you were part of a series that we did just a few years ago on KCPT called Generation XL, where we looked and explored all of these issues. Aren't there the resources here in Kansas City, in the metropolitan area, to do the same kind of thing here?
We are trying to find those resources currently. We would love to do the same thing right here because we have many more families and students that are in need than we can send to South Carolina. So we've been having conversations with individuals in the metro area asking how can we bring a coalition together here to make this happen.
Before we leave you, Dr. Hinson, I just want to bring up something that the governor of Missouri brought up this past week when he delivered his State of the State address. And he complained that the state of Missouri had one of the shortest school years in the entire nation.
Right now, Missouri has the 4th shortest school year in the nation. Adding 6 more days to the next school year will give teachers more time to work with their students and give kids more time to learn.
Your reaction to that then, Dr. Hinson, a longer school year?
Everything we do, we try to really look at research and look at hard data to see if it really exists. I've yet to find anything that says if we extend our school year by 6 days, I'm going to see a dramatic increase in student achievement. So the goal might be noble to increase the amount of time kids are at school. I don't disagree with that. Is it going to dramatically increase student achievement? The answer is no.
Dr. Jim Hinson, head of Independence School District, thank you so much for being with us on The Local Show.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Nick.